Hello, my, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? We'll go through football, and Mark McGuire had a very good show. There was a guest, of course, and he talks a lot about brics and blowing up comex and gold prices finally going to at least 3,000, which I think is low, but we got to start somewhere. Silver's been exposed. Look for that to really start going. Just all the price fixing. Why is my hair like not falling flat? I don't. It's got to fall one way or the other, right? Um, that's what's happening here. It's cold, and we're starting to get a little bit of snow. Into the grocery store, it was packed. And well, what's going on? And well, the snow. What else? There was something. So brics, they'll be moving. The new members are in Saudi Arabia and Egypt and all those 5 or 6 countries. They are now part of it. So that's official. Putin's taken over. That's official. We'll listen to Mark McGuire shortly. Let's get into the football first, and we will see. So. To my Daria. Hey, Bobby Bo. Bobby Bo, you're going to be a happy man today with Mark McGuire's show. Mark has everything you wanted. Comex gone, physical price, free market. He's calling gold at least 3,000 in the beginning, on its way up to the moon. Time to be stoic, absolutely. So we'll go through football quickly, or should we go through? Why don't we go through Mark McGuire? Would you prefer Mark McGuire now, or you want to do football now? And we'll do the other, intuitively. But this was a very good Mark McGuire, I must say. So. I hate YouTube with these stupid videos.
Watch football all season long, live and cable free.
There'll come a point when
I call it. Well, I want to satisfy my guest. Let's do this because this is such an exciting thing that.
And we've got some really good insights here as to why the age-old paper-to-physical wars really starts to get serious this year. And picking up on the thread from our last mid-December, goodness me, market update, it was just the way Christmas and New Year got timed. So, hey, look, we're opening up 2024 trading now. Let's look at how the various paper and physical market participants are actually positioning. Let's first look at the same various actors' footprints as we close 2023. Now, the very obvious official attempt to try and technically close gold lower for a fourth quarter end of monthly close. Now, that would have been because they were targeting the November monthly close, which was in futures was at $2,057.20. So they were targeting that, and they were using the advantage of illiquid holiday market conditions, which was basically 100% reliant on tricking out as many of the commodity trading advisor momentum longs. Remember, we talked a lot about them last year. We'll look at them closer later. But these CTA momentum longs, they were tricking them out, as many out as possible into the end of the month. They were trying to paint a lower monthly close, which would have actually technically forced a very large end-of-year technical sell-off. And this was undoubtedly their plan. And the important thing is that despite all of their efforts, they failed. This would not have happened in a previous year. Now, what they did was they baited the trap, a bear trap, but they just never got. They planned this chart painting bear trap, but they just never got there. They baited it. Simply put, because the real physical gold and silver markets were in such strong end-of-year physical demand, there was insufficient house-generated, undeliverable, these casino chips that they issue inside this bubble, would really, obviously they are supposed to represent gold, but we know they don't. And what they were trying to do was cash settle this derivative gold against the speculators inside this COMEX exchange, so as to really to achieve this bearish monthly close, which they failed to do. So in short, there was not enough speculators to offset against backfiring delivery obligations, which were hammering in against them. Now, before gold became Basel III compliant 1 year ago, in January 2023, we did a lot of work on this. Unlimited casino chips could have been generated by the Fed insiders to be able to rig this very bearish technical indicator. Historically, this would have been a slam dunk exercise. But as we've been drawing attention to, for the first time in over 50 years, these insiders have become vulnerable to being called for delivery of these unbacked casino chips. Now, simply put, any COMEX Gold open interest chips that can't be cash settled amongst these captive casino participants, who are these CTAs locked inside the casino, forbidden to access the 10 times larger, non-farm, NSFR compliant spot gold FX markets. So anything in excess of what could be cash settled against them inside the COMEX bubble is now able to exit the COMEX back door. And we talked about this multiple times. It's called the exchange for physical mechanism, which is the back door. So if you recall, we spent a lot of time drawing attention to how, when the global foreign exchange gold markets that must represent deliverable bullion becomes physically backed, when it became physically backed last year, on the 1st of January, by these Basel III NSFR regulations that came into effect, the EFB backdoor became the insider's Achilles heel, severely limiting the scope of their gold price containment agenda. And this was the...
So basically, the casino are the derivative people. So the derivative, when he says the casino chips, it's the derivatives, because they're not backed by gold. There's no gold to be had. So he's saying is they're getting caught where they can't lower the gold price by doing the derivatives like they used to, because now it's Basel III, and when they do their derivatives, they have to have the gold to do it with. So it gets a little bit strange in his explanations, but he's setting the table that this is what they used to do, they can't anymore, which is what kept the gold price down, because they'd write the derivative and the price would go down, and they were controlling the gold price. They can't do that anymore. All right.
Untold story of 2023. And now we have entered 2024. This will force discipline on the only cash settled global exchange that's left, literally forcing them to comply. And this is the game changer that during 2024 will shake the COMEX shackles off gold. Now, the moment undeliverable COMEX casino chips hit the 10 times larger, physically backed, compliant global foreign exchange markets, the paper market then turns into a physical market. The piper at this point has to be paid, therefore generate.
what he just said is, so that gets us to physical gold, which is what we've been waiting for 3 years as I've been doing the class. It's been in paper, and you and Luke and everybody, when's it going to go? When's it going to go? Now it's going, because now they won't be able to do paper anymore. Now we get to a physical market, and in the derivative market, they could produce 1,000,000 ounces of 1,000,000 tons of gold, and there isn't. There's only 250,000 tons. We know that. We know Russia, China have 100,000 of the 250,000 tons, but they were always able to inflate it with the paper. And what he's saying is they won't be able to do it. Now it goes to a physical market, and we know what the price of physical gold is, a lot higher. As I spit out 50,000 to you, that's based on a physical gold market, because there's nowhere near the supply as on the paper gold derivative bullshit. Now, if they have to go physical, you don't have very much time left. I mean, you better run now for gold and silver, or mostly for gold. You should run and buy what you just hit your credit cards. Just, it doesn't matter. This is where we're headed. Okay.
More paper gold chips than can be settled inside the casino exposes these house insiders to delivery obligations they just cannot fulfill. So, and really, we're talking about this so it doesn't throw you off your wealth preservation plan. It's so important to understand this. And there's only one reason that a much larger historical futures market sell ignition was not ignited into the end of 2023, and this will be the theme in 2024. That's why we're going through it. And despite the synthetic selling action fooling the relied upon, blinkered technical analysts who have zero visibility into the rapidly changing global physical supply-demand pressures, they're once again being suckered into calling gold hundreds of dollars lower, again, just as they did most recently in October, again in November, and again in December. You remember we were talking about these guys. They have no clue that they don't factor in, and the reason they get it so wrong is they don't factor in the physical markets. And now, because they don't factor in the physical supply-demand factors, they've come out of the woodwork again this month. To some degree, this is kind of self-fulfilling, as it leads gold bulls to really dump their positions or stay on the sidelines, while these insiders, who are supposed to be, these insiders exposed to the physical markets, really what they're doing is giving them an opportunity to get long. And what we're actually evidencing as these CTAs once again gets wrong-footed by the House commercials is that the gold is moving into strong hands. Into the January official market pullback, which we are noting ahead of CPI again today, we're recording this on Wednesday. These attempts are running really thin on what they can lay off on the specs. And this is the point we're trying to draw attention to. And under the chart painting illusion, which time after time seeks to wrongfoot the relied upon useful fools who end up as the useful tools of the insiders, just as these insiders, which is the agent banks, contracted by officials, just as they are increasingly being exposed to the cash-settled futures market EFP backdoor, draining undeliverable COMEX open interest, these chips, into the strong-for-demand NSFR-compliant global spot gold delivery markets. Now, the alchemizing of COMEX paper gold into physical bars will increasingly limit the official dollar gold interventions, which can only be generated inside the only global exchange that is not yet Basel III compliant. The COMEX gold price suppression tool will increasingly be pushing on a string in 2024. Every other gold market exchange that is operated by liquidity providers who are literally NSFR physically compliant. And these non-US jurisdictional physically settled exchanges are increasingly cognizant of the fact that these synthetic US actors cannot really wag the paper market tail in excess of what can be laid off against the legacy non-sticky CTAs. Now, this equation is visible and it's become arbitrable. Every first-tier liquidity provider exposed to the strong for demand physical markets, underpinned by global central bank demand, are now capitalizing on these synthetic discounts.
Well, Andrew, I can remember.
So everybody's taking advantage. Everybody's taking advantage of the comex. So the comex is offering the gold at $2,100 and they're all buying it. And they know it's going to be repriced. I don't like that it's going to be repriced. I wish the market would just dictate. This is what the market is, and that's where the price is, not somebody going, oh, we'll make gold this. But it is getting more to a physical price. All right.
Gold opening up at, actually it was 1824 was the, of course these things are burned in your mind because as we move into a new year, you want to see where we're opening and really what we're projecting to be where we'd be going. And we'll be looking at that again for 2024. But on the it was at 1824 on the first trading day of 2023. Now, Basel III NSFR compliance became mandatory on that very same date. Now, this meant that for the first time in history, the liquidity providers operating in the global foreign exchange markets were forced to back their spot gold offerings one-to-one backed by physical gold. Now, huge difference. The deliberately unreported 2023 physical gold compliance changed the gold price suppression game as gold began to be sought by central banks, sovereigns, and institutional traders seeking an alternative first-tier asset class that directly competes with US treasuries. Now, despite a year of official pushbacks, right on cue, just as we expected, gold finished strongly above $2,000, fixing at spot $2,078.40. Now, that was $254, over $254 higher than the 2023 open. Now in 2024, and this is the reason we're going through this, well established. I mean, Basel III NSFR compliance is now locked in and fully compliant. And it's underpinning this 10 times larger the spot gold markets. And gold, having been reclassified as real money, that the real money it is, provides every other global central bank and sovereign entity a perfect, live, tradable foreign exchange de-dollarization instrument. Now, this is going to be the story of 2024. And let's kind of look why. Every global South central bank, bar none, as well as European and Asian central banks, are positioning to revalue gold. We'll look closer at the process as the weeks play out. But one thing is clear. As it was at the commencement of 2023, really, that in spite of official gold market interventions against the dollar, gold would have to be revalued literally hundreds of dollars higher. And now it's inevitable that by the fourth quarter of 2024, spot gold will be over $2,500. And most of the same liquidity providers that predicted over 2,000 spot for the end of 2023 are now gravitating closer to $3,000 per ounce. In fact,
so $3,000 an ounce gold. Now, I think it'll be quicker than that. See, I disagree with that. That's using the derivative gold to price it, not the free market. and he'll get into more, but that's, at least 3,000. So go buy it now at 2, and you're going to turn a 3, but once it hits 3, it goes to 5 and it goes to 10, because they won't be able to contain it, because people are sleeping on it thinking, oh, this isn't worth anything. Once people wake up and go, fuck, gold's really got a value, because what do people say? Well, it's got no value, doesn't go anywhere. Well, once it starts moving, everybody's going to get into it because they know it's money, and now they know it's got value. It'll start like an avalanche effect, like the Titanic, and it'll go much, much higher. All right, let's see.
One of my most respected liquidity providers, very closely associated to the Russian-Chinese markets, sees the Russian-driven BRICS chairmanship driving Glaziev's gold-backed commodity currency forward. And given that, and people are not expecting this, it's been poo-pooed by a lot of people, but this currency, as it gets brought forward, they're estimating that $3,000 is the bottom of the range assessment. It's not that the dollar gold price is actually rising at all. It's actually the purchasing power of the bankrupt, inflation-laden dollar and all the related fiat currencies is en route to slipping to zero against gold. There'll come a point where no amount of dollars will actually buy an ounce of gold. Think of...
Where have we heard that one before? So your house will then get valued in gold, and your car and everything else will get valued in gold. And, he's saying 3,000's the bottom because of the Russian BRICS currency, which the Russians are pushing. Even though the Indians are saying no, Putin's in charge and he wants it. He doesn't want to deal with the U.S. The U.S. sanctioned him. He's like, fuck you guys. So this is now a reality. This isn't, it's coming, Luke. It's going to be here. It's here, Bobby, Luke, now. So look for this price to keep going and going and going. All right, Mark.
The wheelbarrows of printed Deutschmarks it took to buy a loaf of bread. A lot of people in Europe have never forgotten that. And this is why they've never stopped buying gold, even on a monthly basis, taking out of wage packets. Now, given the current geopolitical escalations are accelerating, Russia and China's efforts to open up fresh sanction-proof trade routes, the de-dollarization process is actually rapidly escalating. None of this is factored into the paper price of gold, and we may see the first central bank gold revaluation within the first quarter. I'll be updating progress on our meetings in 2 weeks.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Amazing. But so first quarter gold's going to 3,000 is what he's saying, basically. And here comes the Russians and the Chinese, our best friends, moving the gold price up. So if you could you put it on your credit card, just buy another 5 ounces if you can. It doesn't matter. You'll get it back. You're going to turn a 2,000 into a 3,000 first quarter, if not more, because like I said, once the snowball's rolling down the hill, it's going to keep rolling down the hill. All right, so
I'm sure everyone's excited about that. Now, Andrew, we've had a lot of questions from the community during the holidays, and particularly with the heavy action that we've experienced during the first few days here in 2024 trading. Can you tell us what you're seeing more immediately here?
Yeah, and again today, as and it's always when the pit session opens. But look, absolutely, Shane, drilling down, and again, we're recording this on Wednesday, just 7 sessions into 2024, and looking at gold, despite these officially driven gold market interventions, the 4 January 2024 physically settled benchmark PM gold fixes that followed, and we're just talking about the first week of trading, there was only 4 fixes, that followed. See, and the reason we're measuring this is because it followed the last global fix, which was of 2023, which was at 2,078.40. Now, by Friday, and of course, non-farm payrolls, always a massive tool, huge volatility, gives the insiders a massive edge because they know that data well ahead of time. And of course, then we had the ISM data, whipsaw action. What it did was it evidenced spot gold fixing on that Friday just $22.05 lower at 2,056. And I'm just illustrating what I'm trying. It is illustrating these paper selling efforts simply drive gold into stronger hands. Every dip since then has evidenced strong central bank demand, as we're seeing again today. Had gold not been revalued as a first-year asset class in January 2023, this purely synthetic chart-painted attempt to create a technically bearish setup for 2024 failed. And despite the follow-through attempts witnessing now to create a negative feel during this first few days of action, as again, we're recording this on Wednesday, our first-tier liquidity providers representing central bank and sovereign demand are salivating. However, while the officially driven chart painting attempt did serve to rinse out a very large supply of visible naked short CTAs, long stops, i.e. the longs, the reason the cartel failed to close gold lower for its year-end selling pressure was due to two major inputs, both of which will force discipline on the cartel through 2024, hence going through it. Now we do predict, I'll look at those in a sec, but we do predict the Fed will be forced to fold their naked short gold hand by the end of the second quarter, and very likely much earlier. Certainly, the moment any central bank leads the pack to revalue gold, which could happen. So, looking at these two conditions, following extensive meetings with our wholesale contacts, these are the two things that stand out the most. The first one being, it's not gone unnoticed that the concerted, officially driven paper market year-end rinse efforts had once more run into headlong into the sticky component of the CTAs that we had identified who are increasingly turning to gold as a real asset first-tier alternative to US Treasuries. Now, that was something that was unheard of. And while the sticky component, and we're talking about the paper guys in the comex here, and while the sticky component of the House-issued non-delivery futures market long gold market open interest, i.e. the chips, that appear just as technically rinsable into the price-rigged dips below, their entry points.
Hey, Greg and John.
These real asset hedges are sticky and will not trigger the intended margin calls the House requires to gain downside traction. This is a change in behavior. And these borrowed, undeliverable COMEX long positions have been employed by an increasing percentage of these CTAs to do the job they were sought to do, namely providing an alternative asset class to hedge projected de-dollarization flows alongside alternative asset class alongside hedging their higher risk investments, all of which without exception are backed purely by debt. Most COMEX analysts have not factored this in when they weigh up the vulnerability of the open interest held by the speculator group against the House. They just take.
So what he's saying is they realize that the derivatives are going away, that they can't lower the price of derivatives. It all goes to the central banks that are buying them at these cheap prices. So the Fed realizes they're fucked. Good news for us. All right, let me get to he does one on silver. So just for you, Bobby. Okay.
Talking about silver, Life from the Vault has a pretty large silver stacking community. What are you seeing?
We're collectors, we're not stackers.
Yeah, Shane, and of course, silver, it always gets you going. I know it does. So really to provide really a little color, let's start by recalling what the LBMA buffoons had the nerve to title their presentation. Remember, they did a presentation 1 year ago, towards the end of the year, and they titled it Silver, Ever the Capricious Metal, meaning inconsistent, fickle, and that kind of thing. Yet, it's proven that there is nothing inconsistent about the LBMA cartel fixed price. It's consistently and without exception fixes the global silver price well below the actual deliverable wholesale physical silver price. This makes an absolute farce of the daily global silver fixes that is supposed to benchmark a deliverable silver price. Now, whereas every physical dealer knows the fix consistently benchmarks a paper settlement price at a price well below what is physically deliverable. And the fixed price results from a netting out of process on the books of a daisy chain of highly leveraged LBMA member banks with fractionally held physical changing hands. So really they control that element. What they don't control is the physical market coming in to take those positions.
So what he's saying is the banks price fix silver, hence why it's so cheap. Hence why I say 2,000 an ounce. Once we blow it up and do what gold's going to do, it won't be close to 25 an ounce. And that's where I get my thinking is, yeah, this is all paper priced, but it's all going to blow up because of brics. So brics is our catalyst. Brics is our iceberg, right? The iceberg, the boat sinking, get off. Brics is going to sink the derivative market, and there goes the price through the roof. So that's what he's saying is how phony the silver price is also. So anyway.
Now, obviously, this so-called professional trade, terrible, pathetic label, really, for them, it bifurcates the silver market to provide the illusion of a real physical price, whereas it is in fact determined by a bilaterally settled price netted out on the books of an openly admitted 100-to-1 paper to physical leverage. You can make, literally, we talked about this, you just can't make this up. Industry apologist Jeffrey Christian suggested in the past that it's closer to 500 ounces of silver traded for every, of futures traded for every ounce of silver. I mean,
so they'll trade 100 ounces times 500 is the derivative, but it's not. They're not trading all the silver. They're trading 1 ounce is 500 options or derivatives. Okay, but we're talking right now. We're talking about gold and silver, Greg John. Hold your football till football time. Right now, it's economics.
What kind of a nonsense is that? And with that in mind, I just wanted to apply a little color here. That in mind, let's look at the action in silver as we started 2024 trading, and assisted by some strategic COT bid pulling, commercial insider bid pulling in silver, primarily the swap dealers. Unlike gold, insiders managed to trick the CTA's bears into close silver low to successfully chart paint a bearish monthly end of year close in 2023. As a result, CTAs once again got sucked sell into this bear trap, which they are in now. However, given the paper-centric action rails against the largest Indian and Chinese silver buying in 2023 and follow-through buying in 2024, the commercials have actively been setting up this bear trap, tricking these derivative traders into follow-through selling into news events such as non-farm payrolls, and just as physical demand picks up in 2024. The option structure actually reflects this bear trap, as it once again, this is the same way as it was in October, November, December. The CTA spec group controlling close to 80% of the open interest, who've bet against the market-making insiders who are tricking them lower, strategically pulling bids, not going short, just pulling bids at the correct places at the pivot points. They've taken the long side of these option bets against them. And guess who's going to win this bet yet again? And we figured the worst case for March silver, which is the front contract for silver that is measured on the futures exchange, which is where most of the open interest is, that would probably be, the worst case would probably be a gap close, which would have seen the 13th of December 22,795 low being tested. And they came close to testing that so far. But that kind of a gap close would put the commercials back in the same bullish long structure against the speculators that had subsequently triggered the whole $1.30, that is $6,500 per contract, short squeeze, rinse into the 24s on the 13th of December. If you remember, we saw that spike higher. And once it starts to move, then obviously they need to ring that register quickly. Now, drilling down, what caught my attention was that longs were all washed out into this close to gap close. And it was the failure for silver to make a new low despite a non-farm payrolls news beat. It had made the low before that, day before that, and the non-farm payrolls news beat normally would have hunted out the prior low, and it didn't. It kind of illustrates the longs are all out, and the shorts are getting extremely rinsable. And once this momentum selling peters out, then we'll see a strong, commercially driven short squeeze rally commence.
All right. Well, Andrew, now we're getting.
So what that means in English is that they're not shorting it as much anymore. And a squeeze is when people want silver because it's so cheap and there's not enough silver to give out, and that'll raise the price. So he doesn't really give silver is going to be $1,000 an ounce like I do. He just talks about it being changed because it's not a tier one like gold is. Gold, to do a derivative in gold, you actually have to have the physical. It didn't get to silver yet, but it's coming to. And remember, gold and silver. Silver will go with gold. So gold goes to 3,000, silver will go up. It's just the demand will be more once it's determined that it's money and not just made for solar panels or whatever. Yeah, you couldn't find this in college, Greg and John. All right, let's see. Let's get to.
Relevant given the current geopolitical escalations have accelerated Russia and China's endeavors to open up fresh sanction-proof trade routes, rapidly escalating the de-dollarization process.
Now, Andrew, at the very top of our list of questions in 2023 was de-dollarization. I know that over the holidays, you've been in extensive meetings with your global contacts. Can you give us an estimation of where we're at in this process?
Yes, Shane, looking at this de-dollarization process, Taiwan escalations aside, it doesn't suit China right now to shoot themselves in the foot by invoking the nuclear option of openly dumping treasuries. But they're on record stealthily easing their oil trade out of the dollar into competing BRICS currencies. And while this is being played down by the news services, given the PBOC has stealthily and very conservatively accrued at least 35,000 to 40,000 tons of physical gold reserves, they would greatly profit from acting alongside Russia as a key gold liquidity provider to back the outlined BRICS gold-backed commodity currency. The moment Glazier's gold-backed currency is formalized, and our contacts promise us updates on this very soon, China will increasingly adopt this sanction-proof oil for gold trade. Currently, it's Russia's Putin and Saudi Arabia's Mohammed bin Salman who are leading the de-dollarization process. And given they are the key players in all of the energy complex, Pareto's law comes into play here. And as you know, Shane, we look at this multi-trillion-dollar market in detail last year, but to give an idea of the scale of this gold energy complex, the global oil and gas market is worth 7 trillion last year. And if you add in the 5,000 billion
5 trillion.
commodity and energy sectors, then the ultimate scale of the BRICS-driven de-dollarization process becomes clearer. Obviously, it's not happening overnight, but think about the scale of this. And our well-collected liquidity providers have assessed a minimum $3,000 per ounce. And this is not hard, actually, to estimate. And adding gold as a benchmark to create a basket of gold-backed currencies, gold-backed commodities, will enable the diversification of central bank reserve holdings, allowing these largely exporting emerging markets to gradually opt out of the increasingly weaponized SWIFT payment system. An alternative gold-backed currency becomes the only sustainable currency to benchmark a commodity price as to facilitate a liquid enough non-dollar trade between nations. And this is on the front burner right now. I think it's so missed.
And that's what makes time travel possible. So when here come the BRICS, here comes gold-backed currency, here comes gold for oil. They need a lot higher gold price. So it's all right there. That's where we're headed to. Well, he likes silver. He didn't. I don't know. He's looking at the derivative still, but believe me, when gold hits 3,000 an ounce, and believe me, it's going to be 5 or 6, silver has to go along with it. So don't worry about it. But silver, it's a little bit different because it's not tier 1 compliant or Basel 3 compliant, which means if I do a derivative on gold, I have to have the gold ounces. If I do a derivative on silver, I don't need it. So silver's still being inflated. But as this goes, as they go to a gold-backed currency, it includes silver. So no, he like, don't worry about it. It's all going to be fine. It'll go through the roof. So minimum 3,000 by the second quarter, but probably quicker. And as it goes, all of a sudden gold's at 3,000. Word's going to get out there, and people are going to go, it was 2, now it's 3. I better buy it, because when I go to my coin store, which I went to the other day, he tells me when the gold goes down, nobody buys it. When it goes up, people buy it. And I go, because people are idiots. They don't understand it. But the human nature of people is they don't want to miss out. So as it's going up, they panic and going, oh shit, I better buy it. It's starting to move. They don't understand why it's starting to move. But when it goes down, they go, oh, it's just going to go down. I don't want to buy it now while it's dropping, because they don't understand. And that's what I told them. They don't understand. He says, you're the only one that comes in when it's going down. I says, yeah, because I know it's going to be 50,000 an ounce, and silver will be 5,000 an ounce when gold's 50. I know that. That's why I'm buying it. So that you're giving me a $2,000 ounce of silver for $25. And I'm doing handstands and cartwheels to my car. I mean, that's the whole key to it. It's not close, but now we now have the iceberg, BRICS, oil for gold, Putin, Saudi Arabia, China. Now we see the iceberg there. That's what we're running into, and then we see the result is hold on to your gold. Here it goes. The nature of 99% of people are just followers and want to do what's most, well, let's take it one step further, Bobby Bo. They're lazy. They don't want to learn and understand, but they're greedy. So if they think they can get in on something as it's going up and make money, they want to do it, but they're too lazy to actually understand and figure out why. So they have their money in the bank, and then they'll take the money out of the bank when gold and silver starts to run. Then they'll go, aha, I'm going to buy it. That's why everybody's in Apple and Microsoft and these companies. They don't know anything about them. They just know, oh, Fred and Ernie are in it, I'm going to get in it. And that's why everything works the way it works. Mostly people are lazy. They don't want to do the work. They don't want to get a master's. They don't want to do what I did. They want to just have somebody tell them what to do. And that's the problem. That's why there's so many idiots out there. They don't want to take the time to ask the question and get it answered. Why is gold $2,000 an ounce when we all know it should be 20,000 an ounce right now? Oh, they're keeping it's price fixed. Oh, okay. So now we see they're about to break the price fixing. Comex is gone. It's just the end of it. It's the boat sinking. Now it's cut in half. And then the half goes in, and then everybody's on this side, and then that goes in. And that's where we're at now. The boat's about to go in, and COMEX is about to go down. And the Fed realizes that they're fucked because now they see when they try to lower the price, nobody wants to short it. Why the fuck would I want to short gold? It's about to go to 20,000 an ounce. I don't want to short it at 2. Now maybe at 50 I short it, but not at 2. I mean, you got to be kidding there. So he likes silver, Bobby. Don't misunderstand that. I think he says a silver part earlier. I just have to find it. I'll play it tomorrow. But that's what's happening. So again, Russia and China allow competition. Competition allows higher gold prices because these idiots have been keeping the price of gold down. So you stay in money because the whole Ponzi scheme of Wall Street, the banks, Madoff, JP Morgan is keeping you in the dollar, keeping you in the bank system, keeping you in stocks and bonds. That's where they want you. And so they're guiding you there. Oh, you don't want to be in gold. We don't get commission on it. We can't track you. We can't tax you. We want you in money. We want you to invest your money in a bank or in Wall Street. That's what we want you to do. But we're not falling for that bullshit. We're getting out of it and we're going, fuck you. We're going to buy gold because I don't want to get a phone call or an email that, oh, my $60,000 in the real estate trust is now worth 0. And then I got to buy a gun and shoot everybody. So I'd rather not do that. So that's what happened, right? He's got 60 grand. He's got nothing. Nobody's going to tell us our gold's worthless. In fact, they're going to tell us our gold's worth 3,000 an ounce. And don't worry, your silver will go with gold because then people will realize it's metals, it's money. And also, he made the comment that soon gold won't be priced in dollars because it doesn't matter because the dollar is worthless. That's the other part of your silver that you need to understand. It's priced in dollars, $25, $30 to the ounce. Soon it won't be priced in dollars. Silver will buy a whole lot of shit that you don't think it'll buy. Maybe a car. Maybe you got 5 ounces, you buy a Camry. Somewhere around there. Maybe a little bit more. But then you're going to take 10 ounces or 15 ounces and buy gold with it. Because gold will be 50,000 an ounce. You won't be able to afford it. Actually, gold won't even be 50,000. Gold will be gold. 2 ounces, I buy your house and you'll be happy. And so maybe I give you 20 ounces of silver to buy your house and you'll be happy. That's what'll happen. Bobby Bo buy gold. Yeah, Greg and John, that's what we're talking about. Okay. Bobby, he's starting to vampire a little bit. So yes, the nature of people is they're lazy, they're boring, they're stupid. They don't want to learn. They want somebody to tell them what to do. They don't want to know, and they don't want to understand why. So when I sit in the hot tub and I tell you to buy gold, they don't want to hear it or try to understand what I'm telling them. So now I don't even ask anybody in the hot tub. I just say, you're all a bunch of idiots and leave me alone. But that's what's happening. So great news for us. Probably by the second quarter, probably before that, you're looking at gold near 3,000. So you're gonna see it. It's not gonna break down anymore. You're gonna see 2,100, 2,200, 20, and then it maybe comes down to 2,150, then 2,500, as the Russians and the Chinese and the Saudis start. And what he was saying about energy, it's trillions. He was saying like 500 billions or whatever. or 500 million billions is really trillion. So he said it was like $7 trillion in the energy market that they're going to start settling in gold. Well, you need a higher gold price, right? So there's not enough gold to do all this. So we got to raise the price, because then 1 ounce buys you $50,000 worth of shit, where who has 50 ounces to buy this shit at 2,000? So they're going to make gold much higher, which makes silver go, because there's only so much gold and the central banks have tons of it. They have the big James Bond bars. Well, what are you going to do with that? What are you going to do with that? You can't pay for a lot of shit, so you're going to have to use silver, and that's going to have to go way up. So, Luke, you're in real good shape wherever you are with your boxes of silver. Get ready to buy that house you want to buy. Yeah, you tell them now to buy gold and they won't listen, but a few months from now, and their buddies in the news are all of a sudden taking about is the problem. They don't get it. And they don't, all they do is, yeah, I know it's freezing. They just go by what's popular because they can't think for themselves like a bunch of, well, that's public school, Bobby. What does public school do now? You got kids in school, or kids in school. What do? They go to school all day, and then it's a popularity contest and little cliques. Then the next thing you know, they give them all this homework, and they come home and do homework. They have no time to think or learn things that they want to learn. They got to learn the bullshit in school that I wouldn't teach here. If you paid me, I wouldn't teach that crap. So it's a lot of crap that they're being taught, but they're not being taught how to think. So I'm a critical thinker, right? Oh, gold's 2,000. Why? Oh, BRICS is now coming out with the gold-backed currency. The price of gold's got to go through the roof. That's what we do. That's what I'm doing here, is critically thinking for us, telling us based on us hitting the iceberg, we got to get off the boat because the water's going to come in and the boat's going to sink. That's what I do for everything, football and gold and silver and economics and everything. And that's the point. Once we get that going, we then, but people don't and can't think like that, especially the newer people. They're not teaching them to think like that. They're teaching them, here, do your homework. And you're so tired at the end of the day because you're a kid of being in school all day and then doing your homework. If I had a kid now, that kid would never touch school. They'd be home schooled, and that would be, I would say, go on YouTube and, here, I'll teach you Excel. I'll teach economics and finance. And if you want to learn like medicine, go watch our doctor. That's how I would learn. Go watch our doctor for that, and I'll take care of math and finance, economics, and then we'll get somebody with the law. There's got to be a legal channel, and you can learn your law that way. You'll learn far more on YouTube than you can in class. So that's the problem with it. So finally, a good Mark McGuire. I was watching this one on the real story, how the U.S. trapped Japan. So remember, Japan was it, and they had everything was Japanese in the 1980s, and then all of a sudden they're gone. And so it's an interesting take of how they bankrupt themselves, mostly inflation. They lowered interest rates and printed, and then they wonder, well, why is the economy down? Everywhere they printed, it becomes a nightmare. Poverty, people cannot afford things because they don't make enough, and then everything's so expensive. Because if you think about it, right? So let's say Coke, I saw it was like $3.50 for a 2-liter now. And I'm seeing this and I'm going, well, okay, don't buy Coke. I mean, it's simple. Go buy water. Just have water. Put your ginger root in it and your cinnamon, and off you go. And people don't get it, but all their costs go up. But when they go to work, they don't go from 50,000 to 100,000. They go from 50 to 45 because the employer can't afford it. So he's trying to cut costs to pay for everything. So I had an interview. I'm waiting on 2 interviews, which I didn't get a call on. where they're saying, well, with inflation, like they're trying to justify trying to pay me less. And I'm like, well, wait, because of inflation, I should get paid more because the dollar's not worth as much. So if I'm getting 100 and inflation and the dollar's worth less, I should get 110 to make up for the 100, not go down to 90 because your costs went up. You're going to pay me less. Now I'm really taking a pay cut. So don't outsmart me. But hopefully we get to 5,000 an ounce gold, and then I'll probably retire this year if that's what happens. And then, so I'll probably run out and buy a little bit more. Another couple ounces can't hurt you, right? And to answer Luke's question, hair ringing in my ears is how much do I need? And all I can say is as much as you can afford. We don't know what's really going to happen, but I could tell you if gold's going to 3,000 an ounce, why just buy as much as you can? I can tell you the dollar's going to zero, and I can tell you gold's going 3,000 to 5,000 to 10,000, silver to 1,000 to 2,000. So I can tell you that. So how hard is it to figure out how much should I buy? As much as you can. You can't lose on it. It's going to, so you're buying the ounce for 2, it's going to 3. How much should you buy? As much as you can. You can always sell 1 ounce for $3,000 and have money. But your dollar's going out. So Bobby, you tell that little girl, get the fuck out of the bank. I mean, you just have her watch Mark McGuire here, or me. Certainly, that's why I did it first. So the first hour, we're talking economics. Have her watch it. Then have her, she's like you're talking about. She's the follower. She's like, gold's going up. I think I'll buy it now. Well, yeah, but it's 5,000 an ounce. This is what I'm warning everybody is to buy it now because you can't buy it later. If you can even find it, it's going to be more expensive. But as they raise the price of gold, more people will sell it because they won't know that 50s, it's going to 50 and then it's going to no dollar. It'll just be gold will be gold. Oh, you want a house? 2 ounces of gold will take care of it. Because most people won't have gold and the gold will be huge. That's why I'm saying it. So you own a house, you can't eat. You got, what are you going to do? You need money. Gold and silver. Oh, okay. I got a house. How do I get money? I want to sell my house. I got to sell my assets to live. And we come with a couple ounces of gold and you're knowing that it's worth a fortune. You're going, yeah, I'll take it. That's where I'm getting it off. So how much do you need? Well, the more, the better. Just keep buying. And I'm not really worried about my credit cards because in my mind, the credit cards are immaterial. They won't be worth anything because there won't be dollars to pay the credit cards with, right? So the credit cards will go to zero. Now, will they be diverted into gold? I don't know that they can. I don't know. I'm Chase Manhattan and I'm Chase and you owe 10 grand on your credit card. Okay, but there's no more money. I can't pay you. Okay, it goes to zero, but I owe him $10,000. But how do I pay him? There is no more dollars to pay. So I think it just goes out. And then I don't know what they'll do for credit cards. They'll have to issue with gold or something. And with gold, there'll be no interest rates. There's no need for an interest rate. So what do I teach you? Bobby wants to borrow 10 grand, but I don't want to get paid back in inflated dollars. So I need more than 10 grand to make it worth my while. I need 12 grand from Bobby to cover the 10 grand because I'm getting inflated dollars. So the interest rates get me to 12. But if we're dealing in gold, I can, okay, Bobby, here's an ounce of gold and you'll pay me back an ounce of gold. And that's fine. That's because it'll be worth the exact same thing. So anything else on economics before we leave I feel like we're in Disneyland. Before we leave the Adventureland, we're going to Fantasyland. So off from here to football. But I like to, as long as we're on it, cover it. Sorry for Craig and John, but see, I don't want to get my mind caught we're talking economics. I don't want to start talking football now. Then I lose my place, and it's not fair if I'm in the middle of a comment or a sentence to change to gold, to dollars. But gold, 3,000 by the second quarter, which I think will be quicker. China's in a whole lot of danger. They did what was called a Belt Road Initiative, where they were trying to put naval connections and highways throughout Asia, throughout Africa to connect. So everybody could drive to China, to Zimbabwe, and take the boats, take a boat right to there. And it was billions and billions of dollars. And guess what? They're going broke because they had to send money to these little countries who can't afford it. And they're all going bankrupt because of all the inflation. So China's fucked because they lent out the money and can't get paid back. And they can't do anything to the countries. They're all little fucking African or Asian countries. So this whole Belt Road Initiative is gone. China's bankrupt, but they own 60,000 tons of gold. I'm bankrupt, but I own all this gold. Yeah. Okay, where are they going? We can figure it out. I want a gold car. I don't know. One thing you got to realize, Greg and John, is you don't want anybody to know you got gold. This is not a smart idea. You don't want anybody to know you have gold. It's a secret. Shh, it's in my safe with my Mano cards, my Bobby Bo card. I got to put your card in the safe, Bobby Bo. So it's you don't want people to know. This is where you got to be stoic, Greg and John. You've got to be, shh, don't tell anybody I got gold. I was telling my friend, she wanted me to stop at an ATM to give her money. And I said, no, I'm not doing it. I don't go to the bank. All I do is my Social Security hits the bank and I pay my rent and some other bills with it. I says, it's in my safe. So she tells somebody, oh, his money's in the safe. And I'm like, hey, you don't, what do you got, a big mouth? Shut the fuck up. You can put gold in the glove box. I do that sometimes, but generally gold's in the safe. A gold car, you don't want that. You don't want to advertise. This is one thing you don't want to advertise. And I was thinking about marketing in the pool today, which is to create a market. So the Bobby Bo shoe that we talk about a lot, Bobby needs to market it. So Bobby gets in commercials. I'm Bobby Bo. Here's my friend Barry. Here's Derek Jeter. And we all run the Bobby Bo shoe to drive a demand to get people to want it, right? That's what the marketing's all about. That's what all these commercials are about, is to get you just to create a market and then you buy it. That's what the whole thing's about. And, it works. It creates the market and then you go out and buy this stuff. Sometimes it's word of mouth. Sometimes, sometimes it's just people see it and it's something that they need. And if it's something they don't need, they don't want it. I hate the commercials because I don't need any of this shit. No, Bobby Bo, we have a shoe company, but me and Bobby Bo, and we sell shoes, the Bobby Bows, or whatever we're calling them. Anyway, I got a call today for funerals or something, or cemetery, when you die, the cemetery. And I says, I got gold. I don't need that. Or they were selling me like insurance or funeral expense. I think that's what it was. Well, we're selling funeral expense. Like, what the fuck? You're calling me about that? Well, I don't want to talk to you about that. Nor I don't need it. I got gold. And gold will pay for the funeral, or silver. So that's what you're at. What's life insurance? Gold. I have gold instead. It's supposedly when you die, they pay you because it's expensive, and who's going to pay the expenses? So you have a family and you're working and you making $100,000 a year and you die. Well, who's going to take care of the wife and the kids? Nobody, because you're dead. So life insurance then gives you money, and then they use that to live off of because the income earner isn't there for income. But they also have funeral expenses. You got to bury me in the ground. I need a casket in a place. I need a lot, a lot to be buried in. So that's the other thing. You don't know what life insurance is, Greg? All right. So basically that's it. I'll get more into Japan. I think it's just the inflation in Japan. We've talked about HSBC, which is Hong Kong Shanghai Bank. It's extremely corrupt. It launders money from the mafia all over the world. People walk in, old ladies walk in with $10 million and they launder it, and nobody cares. The bank's bulletproof. Nobody can do anything. But here's the little bit of problem they have. All that money is worthless, right? As the dollar goes out, gold goes up. Now, we don't need the dollar to go out for the gold to go up. The gold's going up because Russia wants gold-backed oil and gold-backed currency because they want to get out of the U.S. That's what's pushing it up. So there'll still be the dollar and there'll be gold, and everybody will get out of T-bills into gold, which is what's happening now. And it's going to be a while for the dollar to go away because all these mafia guys have their money in dollars, and they don't want it to go to zero. Now, either they smarten up and buy gold and silver, or all their dollars in this bank are going to zero. They got trillions of dollars in this bank that's unregulated. It's Hong Kong and London. You can see how scrupulous London is. What a bunch of fucking losers they are. So as the dollar is getting printed, what happens to all the mafia guys with money? It all goes to zero. They all get fucked. And I don't know how smart they are. I can't tell. Are they buying gold and silver with it? Maybe they're buying silver. I don't know. I know Warren Buffett and Bill Gates don't have any gold. They might have silver. I was looking at something on Bill Gates, and it showed his portfolio, and it's mostly Berkshire Hathaway, who buys these companies like Disney and Coke. He buys 1 million shares. He doesn't know what he's doing. He just, there's Disney. Okay, 1 million shares of that. And Coke, I'll buy 1 million shares of that. So he sees good companies, and he buys 1 million shares. He doesn't know how to invest. He just buys the company. So, again, they are not in gold. I think they have some silver, so they'll be okay to a point, but all his money is going to be worthless. Now, when does the dollar end? Soon, but I don't know. But we don't need it for gold. Gold is about to go through the roof. So who is 2 missed voice calls from who is this? Who is this girl? Isn't 2, 3, 4 like a bullshit? I think that's a bullshit. All right. Okay, so that's what I do. So again, Bitcoin, get out of it. Anybody want salmon? They're putting salmon on. Actually, I went for it. They didn't have any. I'll have to go back another day. But this weekend is a big salmon for $10 a pound. So I think I'll get some. Hey, Alex, how are you? All right. So anything else on gold economics, brics, let me know. That's what good news coming. At least 3,000 an ounce by probably the end of the first quarter, but probably more. As it gets going, it's like a snowball rolling down. We'll get much, because as people see it, they'll panic and buy it, right? So as they see it going to 3, because it's going to go 23, 25, 3, people are going to take notice and go, oh, fuck, we better buy it now. So I'm sure they're not going to be able to stop it at 3. It'll go to 35 on its way to 20. Okay, yeah, I bought some today. Well, I bought a salmon steak, but I got to buy they were out of this salmon, but they were cutting more, but I didn't. I want to get home. You love sushi and salmon, very good stuff. Oh, thank you, Bobby. Well, all right, so let's get into football. Now, you can ask economic questions because we've touched base on it, but right now, let's go look at the football playoffs. I'm having some organic popcorn. What is organic about popcorn? Explain that to me, Bobby Bo. What's organic popcorn? All right, all my games are posted. I got one lock, and the free play is the Lions Rams over, which I love. 51. I'm over 45. You've got 2 very cold games. Miami KC's 4 degrees. 17, 20-mile-an-hour winds, and Pitt Buffalo is 25 degrees, probably lower, and with wind chill, 27-mile-an-hour winds. Both of those are unders. Cleveland, Houston, we don't know. They played earlier. Flacco looked like superstar against them. They didn't know to guard Amari Cooper for some reason. However, Stroud didn't play. The other guy did. Stidham from Houston, he's probably better than Stroud. So they put up like 25, but they scored a real late touchdown and went for 2. I think this is an over because Cleveland does a 25 defense and Houston couldn't stop the win. So a good quarterback will light up Houston. Green Bay, Dallas, interesting game. Love, we have no idea how he's going to do in a playoff game against Micah Parsons. Dallas, we know Dak, he's going to turn the ball over, guaranteed. I would be scared out of my mind to take Dallas -1 or to take Green Bay in 13. Philly, Tampa Bay. I guarantee you Philly plays a good game here. I know they've been playing like shit, but now it's like, okay, now it's the playoffs. Let's get together. Hurts is going to run all over them. Swift is playing. I just think one of the receivers is questionable. We'll go through all that. But Tampa does not have the offense to take advantage of this USC defense. So let's look at that. We're going to grade the teams, and we're going to go through the lines, and we're going to pick the scores. So we start off with Cleveland now 2.5. So they're monkeying around. This was 2, 2.5. 2, now it's 2.5, and 44.5. We've got an over team in Cleveland. What's an over team? It means they score like 25, 30 points, and they give up. And they've been giving up 25 based on the last 6 games, not counting the Cincinnati game. I went with what I had last week or before last week, the last 6 games. I didn't look at last week's because nobody tried. Nobody cared. I can't use the Rams. I can't use the Niners. I can't use half these teams. So I'm not. So an over team, they just score a lot and they give up a lot. Even though they got Myles Garrett, you still score on Cleveland for some reason. Houston's an even team. They score 22-23 a game, give up 22-23 a game. Got lucky against Indy because Indy's driving. If the guy could have caught the ball, maybe he scores and they win the game, but Houston wins. They're a couple years away. They need a big receiver. They need a running back. They'd be great if they got the Ali Gordon from Oak State. Would be a wonderful addition. That would make the defenses pause and go, how do we play them? Now it's just Stroud going back to pass, rolling to his right every time, and throwing across the middle, and maybe the guy's open, maybe he isn't. He's not bad at 23 touchdowns and 5 picks. Flacco's 13-8, so he's not bad there. Yeah, snow and cold in Buffalo. Yeah, and you're off the lake there, so it's going to be windy. So that's what you have there. So Cleveland 2.5, 44.5. So now you go, well, Cleveland's an over team, so they'll be scoring the game, and Houston will be able to score. I don't love Stroud. I can't trust him plus 8.5. I don't love Flacco. Guy's 50 years old, hasn't played. I can't lay 3.5 on the road on the playoff game. I don't have Chubb. I got Amari Cooper, who always sucks. For some reason, he's playing well. I don't know the coach on Cleveland. I don't like the coach on Houston. So I don't know what to do with this game. It's too much unknown because this is the first year with Stroud, so I can't go back 3 years and look at stats. Cleveland, I can't look at anyone because I got Flacco. They're just a mystery because it was Deshaun Watson I couldn't use, and then I had whoever the quarterback was. I don't think it was Thompson Robinson, P.J. Walker, whatever. So all of last year's stats are meaningless in this game. I can only look at this year's stats. We're not at the Steelers yet, Greg and John. Greg and John, why do you do that? I'm talking about Cleveland, Houston, and you're bringing up the Steelers and Buffalo. Stick to the scope, right? So we don't have enough really data and information on these two teams except for what happened this year. Stroud missed 3 or 4 games. Flacco's only played in 4 or 5 games. How do you pick this game? So the only way I can go is over 44 to 38. I know I'm going to get good weather. I know Flacco's been scoring. Houston seems to not have a secondary like the Lions. And so I'm going to look at an over game, but I only need 38. So there's no way you can try to, I guess I can guess a score here. My score would be Cleveland 34, Houston 23. Just Myles Garrett. Cleveland appeared to score a lot on him the first game. Houston, with Stroud, I have no idea. He choked against Michigan, as I keep bringing up, in a big game because it's the big game against a good defense, and he didn't show up 2 years in a row. So I'm not going to say, oh, now he's going to show up. He's going to be like Trevor Lawrence. He's going to be like Tagovailoa. He's going to be like this guy, Steve Young at Carolina. They didn't show up in the big game, and that's their MO. Jared Goff didn't show up in the big game, and he won't this time. All right, so we got Kansas City 4.5, 43.5 to Miami. Miami is an over team. Give up 25 a game. Not a good defense, and it's been hammered. They've lost 3 or 4 starters. Kansas City is an under team this year. They do not score. All he does is throw the ball to Kelsey, and he does his little runs, and they score, I think they're scoring 20 points a game. This is not normal Mahomes hitting Tyreek Hill. So you must understand that. This is an under team against an over team. You got a 25 defense against a 21 defense. Over under a 44, which seems extremely high. Tag is 29 touchdowns, 14 picks. Mahomes 27 and 14. Oh, by the way, it's going to be 4 degrees with a 17-mile-an-hour wind, which we'll double check when we go to the weather page. How the fuck are you getting points in a 4-degree? I was just outside to go to the club and go to the grocery store. I don't want to play football in that, and I'm certainly not going to catch too many passes there. Miami, the best runner, Mozart's he's questionable. KC has a very strong defense this year. I don't see Miami scoring much. I got Kansas City 20, Miami 6 in this game. And I'm not sure KC gets to 20, but Miami's got such a weak defense that KC should score a little and a lot of field goals. It's what they do. Miami, I don't see them doing anything. Tagovailoa can't handle the cold, and Tyreek Hill's questionable with an ankle. You don't want to have a bad ankle in 4 degrees, and that's 4 degrees. What's the wind chill? Is that 15 below? Because it's fucking windy outside. KC doesn't score anyway. Great defense. I'm taking the great defense, and I'm taking the cold weather. So 20-6, Kansas City. Pittsburgh, Buffalo. I got an under team in Pittsburgh, 37. I got Buffalo as -10 and 36 is the total. Used to be 40. So it's been bet down a lot. We got Rudolph and Allen. Rudolph 3-0 this year. Josh Allen 29-18. The guy throws a lot of interceptions. I don't know if he's all there with the 2 interceptions he threw last week. Reminded me of Earl Morrall's Super Bowl III, as I said. It's like, who are you throwing it to? He lobbed one up, and the only guy there was Miami's guy in the fucking end zone twice, costing me points to get the over. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to go 24-9 Buffalo. Pittsburgh, I am not betting Rudolph. I don't like Josh Allen. Really, if you think about it, 21 points on Miami is nothing. I mean, their defense sucks. There are guys injured. Tay couldn't do anything, and he throws 2 interceptions. So if he marched them down properly, they should have got 35 or so. So A team in Buffalo, -10 is way too high. A 20 defense. Pitt's got the 18 defense. Yes, TJ Watt's out, but they run a defensive scheme. They're going to run the ball a lot. 25 degrees. We don't know the wind chill. I guarantee you off of the lake, it's going to be a big fucking wind chill in 27-mile-an-hour winds, which you can't throw the ball in 27-mile-an-hour winds. Am I right, Bobby? Can you throw in 27-mile-an-hour winds? I know you'd struggle throwing a baseball there. Yeah, Josh Allen is not trustworthy. That's why I'm betting totals. I'm considering Bill's money line, though, as I hate the modern day Steelers. Well, then you're fucking with Allen. I like the under because it's 27-mile-an-hour winds. Well, that's smart, Greg and John. A good boy. Yeah, I just 24-9 is 33. This is 36. Unders 42 in a teaser. If they even get to 24-9, I'm questioning that. Might be 17-3 or something. This will be low scoring because you can't throw in 20 wins. And you got Rudolph, who's played in what, 2 games, 3 games? I guess what, he played against Cincinnati with half their team out. They beat them, but you can't go against what he looked like against Cincinnati. Here comes Buffalo. Pretty staunch defense. It's a 20 defense. Last 5 games, and Pitt with an 18 without TJ Watt. So I don't see Pitt doing any scoring, and Buffalo they'll have to run it's going to be an Army-Navy game. Both these games, KC, Miami, and Pitt, Buffalo, are going to be Army-Navy. They're going to be run. If they throw the ball 50 times, they're out of their fucking minds, especially Miami. The coach is so stupid, he probably will try that, but nobody's going to catch the ball. So Buffalo to win, but very low scoring with the big win. Green Bay and Dallas. We got an E team in Green Bay. They score about 24. They give up 24. Dallas is the A team. They score 30, give up 20. Micah Parsons. Dallas is 7-50.5. That hasn't moved. We got Love, 32 touchdowns, 11 picks against Prescott, 36-9. Stats aren't bad. It's when he does it. Can't trust him. Green Bay 6-0 is a road dog, and Dallas is 14-1 as a home favorite the last 2 years. I can use them because Dak was there last year and this year, and McCarthy. Somehow he's got a job. So there is a big trend on Dallas, minus the 1. I don't have much trends on the other teams. It's there's nothing you can do on Cleveland and Houston except for this year. And then Tag, not a big road dog. KC's a terrible home favorite because they're usually laying a lot of points. Here, 4.5. I think they'll just win at home. I think KC's very strong. So Green Bay, Dallas. I'm not touching Dallas. I'm not trusting Dak Prescott. I can only trust I can trust Micah Parsons. So I can trust that. But in this game, I kind of like it over 44. I think, let's see, Dallas 31 and Green Bay 24. So let's go with that. Dallas 31-24. Maybe 31-20. Dallas should light up Green Bay. CD Lamb should go wild. Green Bay, I don't really see. They appear to be able to score somehow, but Adam Jones, their running back, if he plays, this will definitely get over. So we need 44. I think that's very doable. I think Dallas wins. Green Bay. Could they pull the upset? Only if Dak throws 3 interceptions. Otherwise, they can't. They don't have a good enough defense. And I'm not betting on Love. He's very inaccurate quarterback. So I don't see that. The Rams and the Lions. The Lions are 351.5. That line hasn't moved. The Rams are an E team. They score about 24, give up 22. By the way, Aaron Donald's still there. Detroit's an over team. They score 30. They give up 27. Their secondary is terrible. Oh, and here comes Stafford with Puka and Cooper Kupp. And they got a great running back. How is Detroit going to stop this team? No chance. I got the Rams 34, the Lions 30. The Lions will score enough to keep it close because that's what they do. Goff will throw 2 interceptions at least, and Aaron Donald will have a nice day sacking them. Love sucks, doesn't he? Love is not there. Well, Love shouldn't even be in the league. I don't know what they're watching. I mean, I love how the analysts, the announcers try to make Love into something. I think Rams pull the W and send those fake Lions. There you go, Bobby Bo. I agree with you. I don't see how they stop Stafford with these receivers. And let's not forget Aaron Donald on the other end. They're not going to – Detroit likes to run the ball. How the fuck are you going to run in the Aaron Donald? And the rest of their defense is looking pretty good. So I see Detroit getting their points, but not being able to stop the Rams. There's no way. Gear bags. Fake Lions packing their fucking you could say garbage bags. I don't went with that. So 34-30 the Rams. This is your free play. Go over 45 in a teaser. Stafford 24-11. He was out a few games. Golf, I call him Golf, 30-12. And he threw those 2 interceptions to Dallas. I love the one with 2 minutes left. He threw it right to the Dallas guy. They're sitting on the route. He throws it right to the guy. Too bad he fell down and didn't take it in for a pick 6. But that's where I'm at with that. Golf's always been a choke from his days at Cal. Went to Utah, threw 5 picks, and Utah killed him. And same thing on the Rams. He got to the Super Bowl. Oops. And that really wasn't Golf. That was just running the ball with the Georgia guy. I can't think of his name. That's all they did is hand off, and the guy ran it because they couldn't trust Golf. Then the next year he choked in the playoffs. And then the next year he was in Detroit. Nobody likes him. He's not good. The type of offense we have is balance. We've got Montgomery, and then you've got this St. Brown guy who I think he's from Notre Dame, who is very hard. He catches the ball and runs after, and he's good at finding the opening in the zone. Why they're running zones against the Lions when their quarterback can't run, I have no idea. I don't get it. But if you blitz Goff, he's done. So if Arnold can get, or Darnold, no, Aaron Donald, if Donald can get the pass rush in on him, Goff's going to throw 4 picks. I think it's all Rams here. I think they win. I think it'll be high scoring for sure. And that leaves us with the Riddler pick of the day, Tampa Bay, Philly. Philly 3, 43.5. Philly is an over team. They score 30. They give up 28. Tampa's an under team who gives up 23. They're an under team because they score like 19 points a game. The 3 and 43.5. Hurts, 23 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, a bad finger. It's on his throwing hand. I saw the hit. He hit a helmet or something. Mayfield, 28 touchdowns and only 10 picks. We've got 70 degrees, right, Bobby? 70 and 14 miles an hour in Tampa. Well, yeah, golf sucks. The Lions are lucky because they had such a weak schedule, like Michigan. And so because of the weak schedule, they look better than they are. Again, they had trouble with Green Bay and Chicago. Both kicked their ass. And Chicago beat them 28-13 in Chicago. So they're lucky they're at home. And everybody, we got crowd. Oh, big deal. That'll last you 5 minutes in the first quarter. Then you got to play. Then it becomes matchups. So Philly, the over team, I'm going to go against 23. I'm going to go Philly 37, Tampa Bay 34. I'm playing this game over because I am not taking Tampa Bay in 9 with Mayfield. We've been there, done that with Mayfield. I don't trust him. I don't think Philly's as bad. I think Philly comes together, and we've been sucking, and now here's the playoffs, and they reset, and they got too much talent offensively. I know Hurts is hurt, but he's going to play. And then they got Swift, I think's playing. Let's take a look at that right now. So those are your lines. So my picks are all overs and unders. I can't trust Cleveland. I can't trust Houston. I certainly am not betting Tagliavoa. If I was to bet the KC, I would bet KC there. I am not touching Rudolph. Allen, I might play, but it's 10 points. I'm not laying 4. Green Bay, I am not trusting Love, and I can't trust Prescott. The only person on that team I can trust is CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons. Stafford, I can trust. Goff, I can't. Hurts, I think I can trust a little bit more. And Mayfield, no fucking way. Aaron Donald would feel badly insulting knowing the professor just called him Darnold. Yeah, Sam Darnold. I apologize, Aaron. You spelled his name wrong. It's Aaron. Philly should come back. Well, I don't know, but I think Philly will play a better game. Once Dallas got the lead on Washington, they sat all their players. That's why they look so bad. Not this week. They're all playing, and they're all pissed, and look for them all to play. All the receivers, they'll all be playing. Yeah, the weather out here was in Tampa been very sloppy, cold, and even rainy at night especially. Well, Bobby, you're going to have to turn the heater on for him, I think, because it's not going to hurt Philly, the cold weather. It'll only hurt Tampa. All right, let's go to our weather spot. Okay, so we start Cleveland at Houston in a dome, so we don't care. Cleveland is healthy. Flacco, Ford, Amari Cooper, and John Doe, the tight end. Houston, C.J. Stroud, Singletary. 2 questionable receivers, Noah Brown, never heard of. Robert Woods sucks from USC. Nico Collins is apparently okay in a dome, so there's no weather to really care about. Miami, KC. Tagliavoa, Mozart, questionable. I don't think he'll play, and I don't think Waddle will play. They're both pretty banged up. The running back doesn't matter. The Waddle, he's easily replaced. For the Chiefs, Tony's questionable. I'm sure they're happy about that. Oh, now we're down to 0 and 18-mile-an-hour winds. So the weather's getting colder, and the wind's getting windier, and the under's looking better and better the whole time we talk about it. You got to understand, and Bobby, you don't like to play baseball in 20-degree, 30-degree weather. They're going to play. Miami Dolphins are going to play at 0 degrees. It reminds me of that San Diego-Cincinnati championship game in 1980 when it was, 20, 30 below in Cincinnati. And how did San Diego look then? So it's not going to be a pretty sight for Miami. That's why you must be able to run the ball. Pittsburgh, Buffalo, they're both healthy. Rudolph against Allen, Cook and Najee Harris, Stephon Diggs and Johnson and Pickens. We got 23 degrees and 26-mile-an-hour winds. And, oh, by the way, 84% chance of snow. So you're going to get snow with 26-mile-an-hour wind, 20 degrees. I think it's going to be like, maybe 13-3. Very hard to score in that game, but everybody's healthy. I don't know that Buffalo wins. They're not playing very well this year. A lot of it has been the hard schedule. Bobby Bo, yeah, Tampa's offense is shaky to say the least when they win a must-win all-or-nothing game against the well, you're exactly right. Here you had to win, and you're beating Carolina with Steve Young 9-0. Are you kidding me? That's called Choke City. I know Mayfield's got bad ribs, but why the fuck isn't he wearing a rib protector? You wear it before the ribs get hurt, not after. So I don't really understand that. They must have ran it a lot. But his ribs aren't going to be better. No. Jim Cantori is my favorite weather. Okay, Greg, that's vampiring. All right, Bobby, give him a penalty. He's talking about some weatherman. Yeah, we know you love the weather, Greta. That's it. Call him Greta. Okay, you two, stop vampiring us. All right, so Pitt, Buffalo again. Pitt is, they're all healthy, but again, it's snow and cold. Green Bay, Dallas. Aaron Jones is fine, which is good for our over. This Watson guy, I think, is out with he's had the hamstring for a month. Prescott, Pollard, I do not like. CD Lamb, I don't really like. Cooks is okay. I don't like Gallup. I don't like Ferguson. What are they doing? In Green Bay, I have no idea. It starts with Jordan Love. Again, this is in a dome. The Rams in Detroit are in a dome. Everybody's healthy except for Laporta, the tight end on the Lions, and the Rams. Tyler Higbee is questionable. But again, you're in a dome. In Philly, Tampa, Bobby, it's 67 with an 8-mile-an-hour wind and rain in the forecast. Is that what you got, Bobby Bo? You got 67 and 8-mile-an-hour winds. Hurts is questionable and Brown's questionable. Devontae Smith and Swift are ready. Mayfield questionable with the ribs. So, I mean, if Mayfield, then my man Trask gets the quarterback. He'll beat Philly. You had Trask out there, but they're not that smart. And let's go to let's look at the gold price. As long as I'm at that point, the gold price is $20.46. It was up to $20.61. Then 10 o'clock happened. And we got, let's see. Let's go to the injury one. Excuse me. Kind of tired for some reason. I don't know why. I think my friend gave me a cold. So Buffalo, let's see. Any Knox questionable with the nose. Micah Hyde probable. Allen probable with the neck. Cleveland, Goodwin, no, I have no idea who that is. Myles Garrett probable with the shoulder. Of course, he'll play. Kareem Hunt's going to play with the groin. Delpeth from LSU, Bobby, he's out with the groin. So now is Delpit going to go back to LSU because he can make more money in college than he can in the pros? This will be very interesting. Murray Cooper probable with the heel. Flacco probable with the calf. God, there's a shitload of injuries on Cleveland. Dallas. Deuce Vaughn, my guy from Kansas State's out. Detroit. Laporta doubtful with the knee. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, they don't have anybody that you can even notice if they're playing or not. Green Bay. Quay Walker, my man from Georgia, linebacker, is probable. He's been out a while. Jalen Reed, MSU, probable. Wide receiver. And again, Aaron Jones, questionable with the knee here. Dillon, the other running back's questionable with the stinger. He'll be playing. The receivers, see here, Watson is out with the hamstring there. They had him questionable for some reason. Dobbs is questionable. And that's it. Houston. Hughes is out. Jerry Hughes from TCU. I know that guy. He was really good in college. Let's see. I mean, I just don't know any of these guys. Woods, I think, is the USC receiver. He sucks. He's questionable at the hip. Kansas City. They got a lot of defense back. 2 cornerbacks probable. Valdez-Scantling probable. Offensive tackle probable. 2 more defensive backs probable. I mean, they're full strength. Pacheco probable. Tony questionable with the hip. Kelsey questionable with the neck, but he doesn't seem to be questionable. He was like that last week, so I'm sure he's playing. The Rams. Just Tyler Higbee, the tight end, the only one that I recognize. Miami, big doo-doo. Tyreek Hill, probable with an ankle. Akane from A&M, probable with a toe. Then you get into a bunch of safeties are questionable. Cornerbacks are questionable. Linebackers, 3 linebackers on the IR. Waddle, questionable with an ankle. Mozart, questionable with an ankle. Bradley Chubb's out. I mean, they have no defense. Well, they never do anyway. But this would be if this was normal weather, I'd be all over KC. Because of the weather, I'm now on the under. Philly, Devontae Smith, probable. A couple of safeties questionable, which we don't care because we're taking it over. Swift, probable, the running back. A.J. Brown, questionable with the knee. Hurts, questionable with the finger. Darius Slay out. Nakobe Dean out. My Georgia guys. Pittsburgh, Najee Harris, probable with the knee. Micah Fitzpatrick, he's from Alabama. We don't care about him. And that's it. The Niners are next week. Tampa Bay, Mayfield, questionable with an ankle. What happened to his ribs? Now he's questionable with an ankle. What did he twist his ankle getting on the bus? That's it. And that's it. So when we look at the injuries, they're pretty much spelled out. We've got the weather. So there's 3 weather games, 3 dome games. The hardest is the dome team playing in the weather, but we don't have that. No, we got all weather against weather and dome against dome. So let's go through the scores. Cleveland 34-23, Kansas City 20-6, Buffalo 24-9, Dallas 31-24, the Rams 34-30, and Philly 37-34. My target is who's the worst defense? Cleveland at 25, Miami at 25, Detroit at 27, and Philly at 28. They're not going to win. Maybe Philly if they get lucky because Tampa's so bad offensively. teaser look. Tampa Bay overall this year is 14-3 in the teaser. Dallas 14-3 and Baltimore 14-3. We'll need that for next week. Bet against KC 15-2. Bet against Philly 14-3. So you would think Tampa should keep the game close, but it'll be high scoring. The Rams definitely are a live dog. I don't know if Green Bay's a live dog or not. I would think they are. I don't think Dallas could blow out anybody. I don't think, well, Pitt getting 16 could be a live dog. It's just such a high spread. I don't think you can take Buffalo. The cold and the wind and the snow shouldn't bother Pittsburgh. They're a cold weather team anyway. It will bother Miami because they're not a cold weather team going to Kansas City in 0 degrees, 18-mile-an-hour winds. They're not going to want to be out there. In Cleveland, Houston. I think Houston's a live dog here. I don't trust Cleveland just blowing them out at Houston. I think Houston can play with them a little bit. I just don't think Stroud can handle a big game. He hasn't shown that. Hey, Nick. Tampa sucks. It's in Berea. They only had 3 goals. Tampa sucks. Well, this is where you get. It's like Houston. They won because the division was so bad. They're not a good team. Tampa's not a good team in any stretch of the imagination. This is it. They'll lose the next game if they are lucky enough to win. I'm not buying they're going to win. Well, you should go meet up with Bobby, Nick. He lives in Tampa. So enjoy the game. Well, you're a Philadelphia guy, right? Yeah, Philly has a chance. I'm not going to say they don't. I got it 37-34 Philly. I think they come, and I think the offense plays. I don't think they're going to stop Hurts. I think they're all embarrassed of what happened, and they're resetting. They're too good of a team to just lose 30-0 to Tampa. That is not going to happen. Favorite team is Readers, but live by Hilly. Make Philly. All right. So, yeah, I know you're a Raider guy. This will be interesting to see where Harbaugh goes. I think San Diego, he likes California. He's got Herbert. He's got Bosa and Khalil Mack and James. He's got half his defense. He's got Eckler and Kelly running backs and Keenan Allen. So maybe he takes the running back from Michigan, and then maybe he takes some defense from Michigan and goes if he can afford it. So now here's my point. Is what they're doing in college legal? Because now they're competing with the NFL. The NFL has a monopoly, and I don't know that they can compete. I don't think. But what are they doing? They're competing, right? They're paying the Michigan quarterback $1 million to play. Where the fuck are they getting that money? It better not come out of my taxes. And then, wait a minute. The NFL is like, well, wait a minute. You're paying him $1 million. Wait, no. Now, this is what the whole point of the merger was in 68. Well, 1970 was they don't want to compete for Joe Namath's salary. They paid Joe Namath $400,000. Well, Bart Starr wasn't even making $100,000 at the time. They made a monopoly so they wouldn't have competition and they wouldn't compete for the salaries. Well, what are you doing now? You're competing with college football for the salaries. You want to pay Greg Ward, Washington State quarterback, somebody's saying $1 million, or I don't know what 7 figures means. Is that $5 million? The NFL is not going to sit by and get into a bidding war with college. That isn't going to happen. I don't care who's what. The mafia runs that. It will never happen. So this whole little $1 million paydays will be coming to an end very soon because the NFL is not going to compete with that. They don't need to. They're in a monopoly. They aren't going to compete. So it's going to end very soon. Raiders will have Brady as owner. Well, that would be good. I don't know what that means. I mean, we've seen Magic Johnson as an owner, and I don't think Larry Bird's an owner, but we will see. So Not really sure what that means. The question is going to be the coach, right? Who does Oakland get as their coach? They need him more as a quarterback for as bad as that franchise has been. Yeah, they got one player there, the defensive guy. He's already minority owner in the Raiders. Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything. So is Michael Jordan at what? Washington? Do they even win 10 games a year? Look at the Pistons owner. This is some billionaire guy. You don't know what the fuck he's doing. What have they lost like 35 games in a row now, the Pistons? So what does that matter? It's does the owner want to win? There's no incentive for the owner to win in sports. He gets the TV money. And therefore he makes $5 billion. So it's more prudent for these owners to spend less on players and keep more money for themselves than it is to spend more on the players and have a winner. That's how the Pistons owner is looking at it. I'm sure development, new Adams would love. What is that? Derek Carr's turned into a complete joke and disappointment. Well, he started getting better near the end. I thought the Oregon coach was going to Bama. Well, he's from Georgia. He was the Georgia defensive coordinator. I don't know, maybe Sarkisian from Texas because he used to coach at Alabama. I hope the Georgia coach doesn't go to Alabama because we got a good thing with Georgia. That would be an interesting thing. But I don't know. It'll be interesting who goes. There's so few good coaches. But there's even very few coaches in the pros. That's the problem. So Harbaugh goes, San Diego, Oakland. If he go, he'll never go to Washington. Or who the fuck would take the job at Carolina? Who are you going to get to go to Carolina? Some stupid assistant on the whatchamacallit coaching tree, the Sean McVay coaching tree. Yeah, we'll let the towel boy go coach Carolina. I mean, that's about what you'd have. What's up with Oregon having so many head coach changes since Chip Kelly? Well, they had a lot of that. Mario Cristobal went to Miami and fucked them up. Oh, I can take a knee instead of running a handoff with 10 seconds left and the guy fumbles? Oh, I didn't know that. This coach is pretty good, but I don't like that he calls all these – he goes for fourth down too much. Coaches that do that don't know how to coach. They don't know what they're doing. But that's what we will see. But right now we'll just see. And then I think the bigger key is these coordinators. So you've got a really good offensive coordinator that he goes from one to another, or the Notre Dame offensive coordinator who sucks because he didn't do anything with Hartman is going to like Troy. And so I'm going to bet against Troy because they won't have shit for offense. But you got to watch some of these good offensive coordinators who well, look at Baltimore Ravens. They got the Georgia head coach, Monk. He was the offensive coordinator for their two titles. And Georgia's offense was a little bit weaker this year, but Baltimore's all of a sudden playing Georgia football. He probably is involved with their defense, the way the defense looks. So give the credit to Lamar, but I give the credit where it really goes to the offensive coordinator from Georgia, who's lighting it up for Baltimore. So I give that credit to him. He won with Stenson Benson, so maybe Lamar wins a playoff game. This will be interesting. I'm sure. See, Baltimore's fucked because they did the bye. So they hadn't played last week. They're not going to play this week. They won't play till next week. So that's 3 weeks with no playing. What an idiot coach. They don't need the rest. You don't rest 3 weeks. You lose all your timing. I've seen it with Peyton Manning over and over and over, and they always lost the first game. The big one was to the Steelers with the bus, and Peyton Manning, was terrible. Yeah, you sat him out for 3 weeks. What did you expect? And we see it in the bowl games. I've seen enough Michigan Rose Bowls to see him choke. They did this year. They looked terrible with the big layoff. That was against Alabama. Again, they got lucky. There was no Georgia. Georgia's the national champ until somebody beats them. I don't care. Michigan, no chance against Georgia. No chance against Oregon. They got lucky that there was Washington because they go by the record. And then they beat Alabama. But look at Milrose is not a good quarterback. So Michigan got very lucky. So it's an asterisk title. You didn't beat the best team, Georgia. And as far as I'm concerned, Georgia, nobody really beat them. So Georgia's the champ. That's how I look at it. But anyway, so we'll go down the scores. Cleveland, again, 34-23 over Houston. KC 20-6 against Miami, 0 degrees, 18-mile-an-hour winds. Buffalo 24-9, 23 degrees and snow and 26-mile-an-hour winds. There will be no passing game. Unless it's like in the first quarter, this team gets it. In the second quarter, they're against the wind type of thing. Dallas 31, Green Bay 24. The Rams 34, Detroit 30 will be a high-scoring game. And Philly 37, Tampa 34. I just don't see – Tampa won't stop them. I think Philly plays. I don't want Mariota in the game. Oh, my God, this is their backup? Like, what the fuck? So I think their good backup went to Houston, I think, the whatever his name was. Wow, so Penix and the head coach – leave, shake my head, program is going back to shit. Yeah, unfortunately. Penix should be well, it's either him or Bo Nix or Caleb. It should be the first pick. And then there's Hartman. So those are your top four. I don't get Drake May being I wouldn't draft him in the third round. Why is he even being mentioned? I think because he can run. So it's more important to have a running quarterback that, by the way, never does anything in the playoffs than a pocket passer. But Drake May did nothing. They didn't win a big game. I don't see Drake May at all doing anything. And to be drafted, you want to draft that guy 1 or 2, then you just did what you just pulled the Steve Young that Carolina did. You're going to go 0-16 or 0-17. Whoever drafts Drake May, he's not a. You want him over Bo Nix and Penix, Caleb. Okay, I think I'd rather have the guy who played the bowl game for USC. He threw 6 touchdown passes, and then you got Hartman who's underplayed, and oh, by the way, Daniels from LSU, another superstar. You want a guy that can run, but he can pass. See, that's what I mean. Lamar can't throw the ball the way Daniels can. That's what's missing there, right? That's why I pick on Lamar. He can't throw the ball like Daniels. You get Daniels on Baltimore, they get 10 more points a game, and they win all the games, right? That's the problem with Lamar. He can't throw the fucking ball, and you need to throw in the play. What's he going to do if Baltimore goes to Kansas City and it's 0 degrees and 18 miles an hour? What the fuck's Lamar going to do? Mahomes can deal with it. He'll figure it out, but Lamar – no chance. I think Hartman won't make it at all. I disagree with that, Bobby. May sucks. Yes, he does. Nix is a system guy. I don't know about that, Bobby. He was, in the Washington game, he was like 28-29. What kind of system? Oregon doesn't run a system like Alabama and Ohio State do. I don't agree with that, and I don't agree about Hartman. He just had a bad coordinator at Notre Dame. But Hartman, look at his Wake Forest year. He had like 45 touchdowns and 5 picks. Hartman's a really good quarterback. But, yeah, we'll see what happens. If I was the NFL, I'd go after like the Oak State coach, the Kansas guy. I would go after the Kansas. Somebody picked up the Kansas. Oh, yeah, Penn State grabbed the Kansas offensive coordinator. But I don't think he's the guy that stirs the drink. I think it's the head coach. I would take that Kansas coach. For him to turn that program around, he's a good one. So if I'm Carolina or Washington, I'm going after that Kansas head coach. Oklahoma State's got a good coach. I don't know about Oklahoma's. Texas, I don't know. He keeps struggling. I don't like Oregon. Washington, okay, he's going. Harbaugh will be good defensively. The Ohio State need to fire their head coach. This guy's terrible. You can't lose to Michigan 3 years in a row, period. End of story, end of things. I just don't like the way Hartman played in big games. Yeah, but see, against when he was at Wake, they played like a 46-43 game with Clemson with the good defense. He's not the problem. He wasn't the problem at Notre Dame. The play calling sucked. He didn't lose to Ohio State. Yeah, I blame the coordinator, not him, because I saw him at Wake Forest and he lit it up. That's where my point is. At Wake Forest, he's almost beating Clemson, and he won. They had a really good year at Wake. So you got Notre Dame had a terrible offensive coordinator. Same thing happened with Van Dyke. You had Van Dyke, he was great, and then you took his coordinator away, and then they wanted to run the ball with Van Dyke. This year they're supposed to bring in an air raid offense. They never did. They wanted to run again. And then you had a coach who didn't take a knee. So it's the same thing with Van Dyke. He's very good. And then we got Cam Rising, who's going to play his 7th year, another injury year at Utah, who's better than all of them. That guy's your number 1 pick next year, as long as he doesn't get re-injured. As long as he doesn't get re-injured and the doctor will let him play. It's only – but Doc, I've been out 5 years. Can I play? Well, we'll have to wait till the game time decision. I'd kill that doctor. I'm sure about Caleb as much anymore for 2 main reasons. He did not play as good against good Notre Dame, and 2, he got a lot of nil money and won't be as hungry. Does that make you hungrier if you get money versus the opportunity? I get to play, pro ball. No, he's not going to go to Carolina. See, here's where Carolina and the Bears really are fucked. The Bears got the first pick, and you got Fields. What do? Do you get rid of Fields and pick up Caleb or Bo Nix or Penix? Fuck yes, in a heartbeat. But will they do it? Carolina has, Steve Young. Are you going to get rid of Steve Young, who is terrible? Do you keep him or do you get rid of him for Penix or Hartman or Bo Nix? That's where these GMs are out of their fucking minds. They'll keep these quarterbacks who suck and pass on. You're going to pass on Nix and Penix and Caleb? Are you fucking crazy? So the Bears get the first pick. So what are they going to do? I don't know. Is there a good defensive player out there? Maybe a Georgia guy that's number 1 pick again. This will be interesting. The opportunity, I think, Professor, is athletes play hard for that big contract. If you make a few million in college, that it takes an edge off. I don't know about that, Bobby, because you got pro bowlers, Russell Wilson, you don't think he's going to try, you don't think he was trying, but he's got the big contract. The big contract is like Lamar, 40, 45 million a year. He seemed to try. But I know what you're saying. I think Mahomes tries. He's got a pretty big contract. So I don't know. I don't agree with that. I think it's the guy. Is he passionate? Does he want to do good? The money's not material. Believe me, Mahomes, Burrow, the money doesn't mean anything. They want the rings. Right? Mahomes plays for the rings, as you know. Josh Allen, same thing. Dak, I don't know what he's doing. He doesn't belong. Stafford's still playing, so he's not there for the money. Jalen Hurts, I don't think's there for the money. I agree with you, and I understand what you're saying. I got the payday, so therefore I don't care. But I don't. If you're well, look at you. You played baseball. Did you try, or did you say, "Hey, I got this big contract. I'm just gonna, I'm gonna hit 120. I'm gonna play in the Tigers and hit 120 and strike out 500 times." There's pride that I'm sure you have that you got the contract, but you still bust your ass to hit 320. You don't not try. Well, yes, guys like us are kind of in there, but we'll see. But I think yourself, you got the. I guarantee you, Bobby, you tried. You tried to hit 300 every year, no matter what your paycheck was, right? I guarantee you tried to hit 300. So, I mean, I think there's, I think you see it with Mahomes, you see it with now, like Stroud and Fields, these Ohio State guys. I just don't think they're any good. Look at the Alabama, Mac Jones. Now he probably took a pay cut from Alabama. I think the Alabama guys take pay cuts. That's why the receivers are always quitting because they don't want to play. But I think most of these guys, especially these. So let's go there. I think the smaller school guys. I think a guy from Florida Atlantic definitely wants to play. I mean, he ain't doing it for the money. He's doing it because he wants to play. I always tried. That's why my numbers were consistent. But some other guys like Kirk Cousins make a big payday but never actually get better. They just stay at the same. Well, Kirk Cousins, he's at his top level. He's just not good. I watched him at Michigan State. I couldn't believe the guy got drafted, just like this Drake May guy. Look, Mitch Trubisky, you think he's just there for money and he looks like shit? You think he goes home and says, yeah, I really fooled him. I got this big paycheck and I'm terrible. That's where the skill set comes in. Josh Rosen, he sucked. Baker, he sucks. I mean, some of these are not very good. Golf and Tag, he's just not good. They're just, and you know this. Some guys can hit 300, and some guys can only hit 200, and they all end up on the Tigers. But you look at these guys; that's as good as they are. Baseball is a very hard sport. Your skill is what it is. Either you can hit or you can't hit. You can't teach it. And the same thing in football. Either you can read a defense, see the blitz coming, and get rid of it, like Brady and Rodgers, or you can't. And I don't think some of these quarterbacks can. Kirk Cousins, I think that's as good as he can. He was not good at Michigan State. He was not anything. That's why I just shake my head at Minnesota going, this guy sucks. If I was Minnesota, I would trade Kirk Cousins and go after Bo Nix or go after Penix or Hartman or Jalen Daniels. Where does Jalen Daniels go? He's, all I can say is anybody that takes this Drake May guy ahead of Jalen Daniels or Bo or Penix or Hartman or Caleb is out of their fucking minds. And he'll be no different than Mitch Trubisky. He'll be no different. He'll be the same crap as Mitch Trubisky, right? That's exactly what I see that was going on there. Trubisky stinks. So why is Drake May going to be good? And that's why I argue about these quarterbacks from Ohio State and Alabama. They all stink. None of them are good since Joe Namath and Stabler. And Ohio State has never had a good quarterback in the NFL. Never. The only one that's been any good is Tom Matte, who played running back for the Colts in 1960. You can't name me a good Ohio State quarterback from the beginning of the NFL. None of them are good. What, Herb Kirkstreet? He sucked in college. He sucked worse than the problem. If he got drafted. Now they have a lot of good receivers, but not good quarterbacks. So that's the problem with the Stroud guy. It's all system with him. And if you notice, he runs the same play, gets the ball, rolls to his right, and as he's going out of bounds, the receiver's crossing the field, he throws it to him. That's the only play he's got. So if you take that, run to the right out, and C.J. Stroud has to stay in the pocket, good night. And if he runs to Myles Garrett's side, he ain't going to do shit. I never forget losing a bet in that one game a few years ago with Wisconsin versus Michigan State when Cousins throws that lucky Hail Mary for the win. I don't remember that game, but was it a playoff game? Because I know Michigan State and Wisconsin, like Russell Wilson lit them up, and I know they were pretty good for a few years when they went to the Rose Bowl, for example. But I don't think Cousins was the quarterback then, but I could be wrong. All I know is they had the no-fly zone, and I bet a ton on Michigan State because you couldn't score on them. They were a great under team. But Cousins is not good. I don't know where he got drafted. He got drafted in the 5th round after you already took RG3, who I thought was much better. But they didn't run the Baylor offense for him, the RPO, which was great. They'd read the safety instead of reading the defensive end. So in the wishbone, they read the defensive end, and if he comes up, the quarterback pitches it. And in the RPO, it's if the safety comes up, then I throw to the guy behind where the safety used to be, and I hit him. And if the safety stays back, then I run the ball. Baylor invented that. It was when Russell Wilson was for Wisconsin and Cousins. Didn't Russell Wilson win that game? He was great in college. I don't know. If what Denver did was because of his salary and they benched him instead of he's playing bad, I don't know what to think of Denver. I don't know. I'm losing respect for Sean Payton, and I thought he was a great coach. So now we got all these coaches. We got, it's funny in the NFL, there's 7 or 8 coaches every year. I used to highlight it, and I'd say, oh, here's 7 teams, new coach. Then the next year, here's 7. And in 5 years, I had 5 different colors, and basically every team in the NFL pretty much got a new coach within 3 or 4 years. And then the GMs don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to draft. And then you get a few like San Francisco who, they figured the Rams, but I don't know. And Cousins became the first player to get a first ever guaranteed money contract. Why would you give anybody guaranteed money in the pros? Yeah, Wilson won the rematch in the Big Ten championship game, but the Hail Mary was a regular season game. Well, you should have talked to me on that one, Bobby. I would have talked you out of it. Where was the game at? Michigan State? I don't remember it, but the one I remember is the Michigan State, the punt block or the punt whiff, and Michigan State ran it in for a touchdown to win the game. I had Michigan State. I had them bet in that game, and I needed that play. I think I had Michigan State even. And I needed that score to win the bet, and I couldn't believe I won the bet that way. And I couldn't believe how stupid Michigan is. Why are you even punting? Why didn't you just take the punter, just put in a halfback, and have him run backwards, and take this? Even if you don't take the safety, have him do like a zigzag and run off 6 seconds or 10 seconds. Or just throw the ball the length of the field for 10 seconds. Who cares? There's nothing they can't beat you unless you do that. That's how stupid Harbaugh is. That's the problem with Harbaugh. So you got lucky. He beat Washington, but he got a lot of help from the referees. Yeah, that was a crazy one. I remember seeing videos afterwards of grown men, Michigan fans crying hysterically. Yeah, well, that's Michigan fans for you. They're such a bunch of babies. They're all, we're real smart, elitist type that everybody hates. When I go to a Michigan game, I don't wear any Michigan. I'll wear like San Francisco 49ers or Caesar's Palace. I mean, that's what I like. I prefer to wear Caesar's or Bellagio clothes than like Michigan clothes. Then you don't know what the fuck I'm from. I'm from the gambling college. But and don't ask me about the Lions. the last Lion game I went to was like 1980 with my friends at the grocery store. Otherwise, we used to go back in the 60s and 70s when they would play Thanksgiving. My dad's friend owned a steel company. He had like 10 tickets, and for Thanksgiving, we went. None other time, but for Thanksgiving, we went. TK, I never knew Montana played with Kansas City with America. Yep, that was at the end. So he got hurt, right, in the Giant game when Steve Young came in to fuck the game up with the fumble and cost them the third straight Super Bowl. Steve Young was a joke. That's why I call this guy Steve Young. And so they cut him. Could you imagine cutting Joe Montana? So when he came back, they I think they maybe traded him, and they traded him KC. And Oakland had a problem with Marcus Allen, and they let Marcus Allen go. So he went to Kansas. They had a pretty good team that year, but they didn't have defense. So they were pretty good. They had this one kid that looked like he was a college student. They're around 25 years old or so. And he was crying and screaming, "Oh my God." And his friends were trying to cheer him up. I mean, see, those guys aren't stoic, Bobby Bo. If I was there, I would have just, won the bet. I'd have been happy. And nobody would have understood why I was smiling, except for you. I mean, these guys are a bunch of idiots, but see, in the stoic world that we live in, we I have a friend, Alyssa, who's with this guy who's terrible. The guy's like a 5-year-old, and he hits her and all this shit. And I sent her the stoic videos. I says, you got to act stoic. She called me the other day. Oh, we're fighting. And I closed the door, and he keeps like prompting me to fight with him. He'll make comments that will let her fight with him. And I says, you just got to be stoic. So in other words, if this guy is yelling at me, you know what I do? Nothing. I don't even hear him. I ignore him. I'm stoic. And that's the thing. So I'm trying to explain stoic. It's like you just remain calm. You don't listen to the shit, and you do whatever. You just do your thing. You don't, like, they'll be in the locker room and guys want me to move because I'm getting dressed in front of a locker, and I look at them. I don't even look at them. I just keep going with my business, and then sometimes the guys will get angry, and I go, who are you? Why should I listen to you? Who are you? I'm Marcus Aurelius. Who the fuck are you that you're telling me to move? I'm getting dressed. When I'm done getting dressed, you can have the locker. Right now, I'm sitting here. And why should I move just because? Fuck you, I'm not moving. And I just say that. I said, who are you? And I'll just keep getting dressed, and they walk away, and I laugh, right? So that's how stoic people do it. But yeah, that's I enjoy watching that Dallas San Francisco, the first game when they went to the Super Bowl. Montana threw 5 interceptions in that game, by the way, and they still won, like 28-27. That was like 1981, and I still love watching that game. That's like just a classic game to watch. But I mean, I think the key to betting this is the quarterback and the defense. So the only quarterback worth betting on here is Mahomes. Maybe Stafford. Maybe Hurts if he wasn't hurt, you could bet on. But I don't really trust any of them. I know this guy keeps bringing up Houston and Stroud because he lives there. It's like enough already. I don't need to hear this interference. I don't know what his big, gets a hard on Houston. I don't get a hard on in Detroit. I'm from Detroit, but Stroud's not a good quarterback. I'm not going to say he is. And for some reason, I don't think he understands this is a class. Like, shut the fuck up. I don't care that Stroud is good or not. He's not good yet. Does he turn good? I don't know. We'll see what he does in the playoff game. But until then, we don't know who the fuck he is. He's from Ohio State. He lost to Michigan 2 years in a row. Enough said. All right. This Alex guy. He talk about a vampire. Oh my God. But I don't like is when he says, "Oh, Michigan won." You know, it's like, okay, relax, dude. I didn't bet Washington. I bet the over. Shut the fuck up. We don't care. That's not doesn't add value to the class. He doesn't get that. He doesn't add value to the class. So you got to train these guys. They want to put their predictions down and look, I won. I had Michigan. We don't care. It's not about that. This is about how to pick games and what to look for, not that you picked a winner or that I didn't, that Michigan won. I didn't take Washington. So shut the fuck up. It's got nothing to do to add value. All right. Yeah, he's on the fill list now. I filled him because it's not helping the class. There's no value added. If you don't add value, then what the fuck you doing here? All right. So we've talked about Mark McGuire. The gold about to go to 3,000 and it won't stop. It's going to go. That's what I was watching. This Japanese thing, which I watch differently than you guys would watch it. So it's how was Japanese, what happened to Japan? Because they were the real big thing in the 80s. All of a sudden they collapsed. So a lot of it was inflation. They don't see. It's amazing how these Keynesians don't understand inflation, right? Well, but we told Greg, and he's kind of calmed down. I don't want to really block Greg because he's your friend, but Greg just kind of goes off on like. Today's Monday, today's Thursday. And you're like, no, Greg, today is Monday. Or I'll say something and then he repeats what I just said. I go, yeah, I know, I said it. No coin. Well, I already went to the coin store. What did I go, Tuesday or Wednesday? So I just went during the week instead of on the weekend. But just to keep an eye, he can't get any more silver in except for this stupid looking stuff. Although he still has the Liberties, they're 30. I love how he's reducing the price on the Liberties. Unbelievable. And then the golds I told you, I showed you, I bought the 2/10 of an ounces. I showed you this. So I bought these 2/10 of an ounces. And the Maple Leafs were 234 and the US were 250. Hey, it's 2/10 ounce, 1/10 of an ounce of gold. Why would I buy more for pay more for the US? So that's what he had. So this is Tuesday or Wednesday. So you can see he's got the 1/10 of an ounces, 8 of them. And then he's got the Liberties on the bottom, and then he's got Cougarans in the middle. So he's got, but these are all for people coming in the store and giving them to him, right? So people are coming into the store, selling their gold. That's where he's getting it from. He says he's not getting it anymore. I'm you're clinging near the Chinese spot you go to get true General Chow. Is your corn guy sorry for typos? Chinese and Coinstar is a great combo. Yeah, it definitely is good. So is he a lot of smaller portions now? I see. Some people are selling at these prices because they don't know. They'll see it go to near 2,100. Now they start coming down and they panic and say, "Oh, it's really high. I bought them. Maybe they bought them at 1,000 an ounce." So for them, they're making money and they sell it, but they don't understand that these are way undervalued. These aren't even close to what they should be. But I think a lot of retirees who need the money, they're losing money in their 401ks and their stocks. They're all getting hammered. So they need money to pay for food and pay the rent. They're retired probably. Wait till they get fucked on their 401ks and their IRAs and their stocks. Wait till those go out. So you got 300 grand in your IRA and you think you're going to retire, and then the dollar collapses and now it's worthless. And what the fuck you going to do? And the problem is these people are very stubborn, won't understand that what's really going on, right? So they won't understand that their 300,000's in jeopardy or their 500,000. So they make all this money on their stocks and they probably don't sell. And then next thing you know, it'll be worthless and they'll get the shit knocked out of them. And they won't see, they don't want to learn what's really going on. They want to bury their head in the sand. So a guy like me comes up and says, "Do you have any gold?" No, I'm in stocks. I'm fine. I got this money in the bank. Or your girl, "Oh, I got money in the bank." And they're too stubborn and too scared to listen and learn. That's the problem I have, is they're scared. They don't want to learn the truth. And that I as you would say, shake my head. I can't comprehend that. I'm going to save you. No. What do you know? That's the thing. Well, I don't know it. Why would you know it? And I just am getting tired of doing that. Is that the lemon water, by the way? Yeah, this is, well, you can see the ginger and then lemon and cinnamon in here. It's got a nice aftertaste. Like I can feel the cinnamon when I, like a cinnamon toothpick. So I can taste the cinnamon in here. But I put the cinnamon in the whole stick. So you can see like there, that's a cinnamon stick as opposed to taking the cinnamon powder and pouring it in. So I got some cinnamon sticks and then I'll break them in half and toss them in and they last a pretty long time. I need to make some more of that. Well, I don't want to drink pop, right? And there's nothing else to drink. I can't drink apple juice and orange juice. So you just slice up a piece of ginger, lemon, and a cinnamon. With the lemon, I cut it in half and squeeze it in. So I take the lemon, squeeze it, it goes in. I showed you what to do with the ginger from the ginger root. Let me show you. And the cinnamon stick I just showed you. So wow, it's snowing outside. We're getting the 10 inches from Chicago, I guess. Look at that. We're going to have a white Christmas. All right, so ginger root, you cut a little piece off, and then you shave it down like you would cucumber, right? And then this is the ginger root. So it comes cinnamon sticks. And then you got the whole stick. And then I break it in half and put half in. I don't know how much I need or how powerful or how long these stay for. They seem to stay for a couple of weeks. Every couple of weeks, I'll then empty it and clean it out and change it. But very tasty and beats the hell out of a Coke or a Diet Coke, which are extremely bad for you. So that's what you do, Bobby Bo. So cut the lemon in half and squeeze it. And then take half of this. This is already a stick. And then you can buy this in the veggie section. It's really cheap. It's like 80 cents. and there's all these branches. So you just, you cut this, you just cut them with a knife, and then you shave them with the cucumber thing, and then off you go. So that's all it is. So my foot's almost better. It felt better, and then started hurting a little bit, but not like it was. It's like, can't this fucker go away? So when I woke up, I was fine. And I'm like, what's going on here? So I don't know if it's my sleeping position. I don't know if it's gout or if it's, is it gout or is it arthritis or is it the weather that's creating this? It's hard for me to understand it, but I'll ice it down, and that's it. And that's it. So real good news on the economics with Mark McGuire today. I'll look for an Egon one. See, like Alex, I'm showing him Bitcoin's a Ponzi scheme, and he argues with me. It's like, it's not the point of the class for you to argue with me. If you have some concrete evidence, that's what we want to hear. But I don't want to hear you say, I got Bitcoin. What does that have to do with the price of tea in China? I don't give a fuck. A lot of people have Bitcoin. You're going to lose your ass in it, but I'm here to inform you. I'm not here to argue. So I hate when I get people like that just don't understand. It's not, this isn't a debate class, right? We're not here to debate. I'm here to teach you, and then I'm not here to get other things out there. So, yeah, that kind of bothers me. We bet together a little bit where I'll give him 8 or 9 games to bet on, but now he's becoming, I don't know, he's missing the point. So that's it. Yeah, I don't know about Chinese. I haven't had Chinese in a couple of weeks. I'm just getting tired of the drive and tired of the General Chow without the sauce isn't very good. It's just chicken. And I'm thinking I can make my own chicken. And now that I found the sauce is sweet and sour, and it's a little bit sweet. And I always thought something, because I always felt kind of weird after eating the sauce because it was so sweet. It fucked up my body. So it's not really worth it to get the General Chow without the sauce or the sauce on the side. It's not the same meal. Now I can still get the almond boneless chicken or the sweet and sour chicken. Sweet and sour chicken would be the same sauce. So I don't know. I think I've had enough Chinese for a while. Maybe the barbecue. I don't know. But I got a steak today and some salmon. And again, I wanted that big piece of salmon, but he didn't have. So I'll probably go back there. It was crowded as hell, the grocery store, because of the snow. I don't know how much we're supposed to get, but it's a lot. And you can see the snow out there. It's pretty fucking white and pretty. It's probably looks like 3 or 4 inches already. I'll have to take a picture for Jenna. Jenna likes snow. Otherwise, everything's okay with the girls. Daria's doing this where when she works 3-4 days in a row, she doesn't contact me. And I can't figure it out. I think she knows everything's good with us, and I just helped her with her tooth and, New Year's. So I think she knows, but in Russia, they're probably working 12-hour days, probably gets up, eats and goes to work and doesn't want to be late, and she can't text me at work. And then when she gets home, she takes care of her daughter, probably eats and goes to sleep, and probably thinks, well, yeah, I know Howard loves me. There's no reason I don't need to text him. I don't really have much to say unless I need money for something. So I assume that's what's on her mind, because when she was home for New Year's Eve and Christmas, we talked quite a bit. And I said, these are nice days. We had good conversations. She was showing me they got caviar, and I'm going, I think I'm giving her too much money if she can afford caviar. But it is Russian, so it's probably very cheap there. But that's the only thing that bothers me. Jenna, I get every day in the morning, and Daria, at least I feel more. I don't think she's with another guy, and I don't doubt her love. So it's just I would prefer to hear. It's like hearing from your if you're married or your girlfriend. How you doing? And then she responds, and that's all. Okay, go enjoy your day. I'll go enjoy my day, and but at least you heard from her. So that's the only kind of weird thing. But what am I going to do? She's Russian, so we'll see each other soon. I'm curious when she gets her passport. January 12th, probably by the end of January. It'd have been 2 months because I think she applied in November, and she'll go from there. So in 2 months, we will get the passport. Then I can book Turkey. And if gold does what it's supposed to, then I'll have a nice trip. See, Jenna doesn't understand the gold going up, and she doesn't believe it. Well, when it hits 3,000, now she'll start believing it, going, okay, now you're right. And then silver, we got to see when silver goes up. It should pop to 2,000, but I think silver is one of these things that you can't afford gold, you'll buy silver. Once you realize the dollar's gone and you realize that gold's the answer or silver and you can't afford the gold, that's when I think everybody runs into silver. So you got to be a little more patient in silver. That's going to stick around for a while. But gold being the tier, Basel 3 and everything, I think they hold silver down for like the manufacturing side of it, for the batteries, the solar, the electric batteries need silver. So I think they hold the price down for that, but I don't think they'll be able to do it much longer once they get rid of these contracts. All right, anything else? 2.5. Once again, we'll go through the games. Cleveland 34-23. KC 20-6, 0 and 18-mile-an-hour winds. We got Buffalo 24-9, 23 degrees, snow, and I'm sure they'll get this, and 26 mile an hour. Green Bay, Dallas in a dome, 31-24 Dallas. Rams 34-30 over Detroit in a dome. And then Philly, Tampa at Bobby's house. It's 60 degrees, a little rain, he says, 14 mile an hour winds. I got Philly 37, Tampa 34. We know Philly's not that good or struggling, but who the hell is Tampa? You won the NFC South. It's not like you beat Kansas City. So I'm struggling to say they're any good. And I got a feeling Philly will play. Now, Philly, we'll see who plays the Niners out of this mess. So we'll see this mess. So more than likely if it'll probably be Detroit at Dallas, and then the winner of the Philly-Tampa game at Frisco. So they're done, and then it'll probably be the same thing. It'll be the Cleveland-Houston winner against Baltimore, and then Buffalo-Kansas City. So those will be better games. This is what I hate about it. The Cleveland-Houston and Philly-Tampa, they're not even playoff games. Better you had Georgia and Oregon in this. All right. What time's class tomorrow? What time do you want it, Bobby? Well, tomorrow's Saturday. We do have the playoff games, but I think they're not on until 4:30. Let's get game times. So we've got 4:30 is Cleveland, Houston, and then 8 o'clock is Miami and Kansas City. So I don't know, depending on my snow, if I can't get out, I'll probably have it around 11 or 12. If I can get out, I'll go swim and then have them after that. But let's say about noon tomorrow, 11:30, 12, somewhere in that neighborhood. as we've got time. And then Sunday will definitely be 11 because we got the 1 o'clock game. What's this? What is the Miami Kansas City game doing on Peacock? Do you want to make sure nobody watches this? I mean, I don't. Who's going to run by Peacock to see this game? It's not a good game anyway. I don't get it. And then Monday night, is a Monday Night Football, Philly and Tampa. Probably the worst of all the games. So I don't know. Yeah, so let's say Sunday will be 11. Let's say 11:30 tomorrow, 12, based on the things. So that's what we're looking at. And I'm going to go look at I want to watch Mark McGuire again. There's a few other things he said, and I want to just pinpoint those thoughts, not the whole 6-7 minutes of it. I just want to get to the meat and potatoes of it. And then I'll look for some more egons and alligators. And I'm curious about this Japanese collapse. Something happens and they collapse. And then you really don't know why. Like 2008, the housing market collapsed because they gave bad loans to people that should not have gotten them. You gave loans to people that weren't qualified. And that's the problem that you have. And when you do that, you just can't, you give bad loans, and then you buy all these loans, and then and then people buy them, and they all go broke because you're selling crap. They're crappy loans. You made a lot of money because people are stupid and said, "Oh, I can get 8% on a real estate trust." So I like to dig into why. Why did Japan collapse? There was a lot of inflation. China's collapsing from this Belt Road Initiative, where they're trying to link all these to China and all these highways and railways and shipping to flow through China. And it's failing miserably because of they can't afford it and the inflation. So it'll never get done. And China got killed. They lost trillions of dollars doing this stupid thing. So you got to be careful there. But I think so. I'm gonna look into these kind of things. But China, they got 60,000 tons of gold. They're not worried. Russia with 35,000 tons. Putin's not worried. And the oil for gold and all this and all the countries. U.S. dollar to be the middleman. So I'm going to research a lot of that stuff. But I've been doing that. That's what I do in my free time. And otherwise, so we got nothing tonight. I'll probably put on a movie. And I found the Cincinnati Kids on Tubi. I love that movie, although I hate the ending. And so I'm been watching that, and then The Sting was on. So. I like that, but man, I'll tell you, Steve McQueen, that's a guy you want to market your product. Steve McQueen wears Bobby Bow's tennis shoes. Everybody would buy Bobby Bow's tennis shoes. So incredible. Anyway, I think that's about it. Anything else? Everybody's gone. Bobby Bow, have a nice day. Hopefully, I don't know, are you getting hit by the snow or not? Have a nice day. I will see you tomorrow, and take care. All right. www.teaserking.com.